Chapter 21-23, Zhang Yi's Counterattack. From their voices, Zhang Yi could hear deep-seated anger. They had watched countless soldiers and civilians die before their eyes and had long wanted to fight back. No! Now is not the time. Stay here and wait. I'll go ahead and avenge you. Upon hearing this, Black Tortoise and the others hesitated slightly, but ultimately decided not to show themselves. Zhang Yi was right. Now was not the time for them to move. With their strength, even if the Wulwan Empire sent out a single bishop-level mutant, they would likely be killed in seconds. Black Tortoise's huge body was hidden in the sea beneath the ruins of East Sea City. Li Changgong remained in East Sea City. He believed that in the upcoming battle, his abilities would play a decisive role. Moreover, this was an excellent opportunity to obtain the origin of the powerful. But this time, let's just see how Zhang Yi performs. Li Changgong leaned against the rock wall and looked at the Black Tortoise in the underground sea in front of him, which was unable to leave freely, and said with envy. At this moment, Zhang Yi's synchronized image appeared in front of them, showing his movements in real time. He was alone, heading straight for the southeastern part of the ocean, Star Island's Mist Valley. Zhang Yi was never reckless, and today's actions were also part of his plan. It was just that the Wulwan Empire's second attack had forced him to set the date for today. At this time, the two Star Island mutants responsible for executing the attack plan were on their way back. The two lizard warriors, one male and one female, were dressed in silver armor, and their gender was clearly distinguishable from their appearance. The male lizard was named Barlot. He rode the sea with confidence, not worried in the slightest that the people of the Huashu Kingdom would fight back. In their view, weak races were meant to be humiliated and abused by stronger races. If they dared to resist, they would only face even more cruel retaliation. This is the second time. We killed quite a few sixth-generation humans this time. I wonder how long they can hold out. The female lizard man next to him was named Haiwan. Upon hearing this, she said indifferently, "Next, there will be internal turmoil among the humans. When faced with the deterrence of the strong, they will definitely hand over the culprits to seek our forgiveness in order to protect themselves. Let's kill the humans in that small seaside town first." Barlot nodded. What a hassle. If it weren't for the even more powerful race beneath that land, I really wanted to rush to that land and kill all those insect-like humans. The battle in Tianhai City was a heavy loss for the Wulwan Empire, which made all the people of the Wulwan Empire put the humans of the Huashu Kingdom on their kill list. Haiwan shook her head. Don't be so eager to kill. Those weak insects may be annoying, but we can keep some of them to work for us. You know, I like keeping these kinds of pets. She smiled and gestured at the size of humans. To them, humans were indeed no different from cats or dogs. We'll keep them as pets. The obedient ones we'll play with, and the disobedient ones we'll eat. I've tasted their flesh, it's tender and soft. The two laughed and joked as they rushed towards Mist Valley on Star Island. They needed to return to the Wulwan Empire through the passageway there. Suddenly, Barlot felt a chill on his neck, as if something dangerous was approaching, like a sharp sword hanging over his neck. Strange, why do I feel a dangerous aura approaching? Barlot rubbed his neck and said strangely. Haiwan smiled dismissively, you're overthinking it. You don't really think those weak humans would dare to chase us here, do you? Without the protection of the underground civilization, what are they? The two stopped talking abruptly because suddenly, they saw a figure appear in the empty sky ahead of them. It was a figure covered in black armor. He stood in front of them, as if he had always been there, only to be discovered by the two of them. Just looking at his stance made him seem incredibly terrifying. His hands hung naturally at his sides, his palms slightly curved, in a posture that showed he was ready to kill at any moment. It was a human. You could tell by his physique. Barlot laughed loudly. Finally, a human couldn't resist coming to their death? How foolish. You're so noisy. A cold, emotionless voice rang out. Haiwan was also laughing, but suddenly, she felt something warm splash onto her body. Ah! There was a loud sound, and a fishy smell filled her nose. She turned her head and saw that half of her body was covered in blue blood. Barlot had disappeared. No, to be more precise, he had exploded into a mist of blood right in midair. The thick blood splattered all over her, and her expression changed from mockery to shock and fear. What the hell is going on? Where's Barlot? Is he dead? According to human supernatural ability standards, Barlot's ability index was as high as 24,000 points, making him a powerful general of the Wulwan clan. But even such a powerful being was killed in seconds by the human in front of her. Even a white bishop-level mutant would find that difficult to achieve. Haiwan was so terrified that she couldn't believe what was happening in front of her. She rushed towards Zhang Yi and shouted like a madwoman, "What did you do? Hand over Barlot." Zhang Yi clenched his palm and absorbed Barlot's spiritual essence origin. Who? Oh, sorry, I accidentally squeezed him to death. Zhang Yi's eyes looked coldly at Haiwan through his rabid dog helmet. You die too. Ow! Haiwan screamed wildly, and a bitter coldness burst forth from her body. Her body suddenly underwent a magical change. White scales gradually rose from her skin, forming beautiful white patterns, like unknown flowers carved from ice. Ice butterflies! She roared angrily, and the beautiful flowers on her body suddenly grew wings and flew up. Clatter! Large numbers of butterfly-shaped, translucent ice creatures emerged from her body, filling the entire space in an instant. They swirled like a storm and flew towards Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi silently watched her performance. Soon, they enveloped the entire space where Zhang Yi was, forming a huge white ice ball. Clatter! The white ice butterflies flapped their wings rapidly, and the colors on their bodies became brighter and brighter. Explode! Chapter 21-24, Zhang Yi vs. Xinglu. Haiwan shouted, and immediately the huge white ball burst into a dazzling light. Boom! Above the sea near Mist Valley, white beams of energy swept across, causing the sea to be stirred up into a huge void, with countless waves rushing skyward and the sea water surging in waves in all directions. Haiwan gasped for breath. I got him. That guy, What did he do? Where's Barlot? She reached out and touched the blue blood on her arm. It was not an illusion, it was indeed the blood of a lizard man. Could it be that Barlot is really dead? Was he killed by him in seconds? Haiwan couldn't accept this fact. Because if that were the case, given his strength, he would never have died by her hands. As she thought this, a dark figure suddenly emerged from the icy white light. It was still the same human form she had looked down upon, less than 2 meters tall, only about a third of her height. But the owner of that pitch-black armor walked out unscathed from her deadly technique, without even a scratch on his armor. The Hades gatekeeper actually sent such a weakling to cause trouble. It seems that the Wulwan Empire really has no one left. Haiwan's pupils suddenly contracted. She knew that the guy in front of her was definitely not someone she could deal with. Unfortunately, her last resort, the Armament of Armageddon, had already been used to trigger a tsunami, so she couldn't use it on the target in front of her. Without the slightest hesitation, her instinct for survival prompted her to turn around and rush towards Mist Valley. Did I allow you to leave? Zhang Yi pointed at her back with a single finger. Puff! Without any fancy moves, Divine Realm Netherworld Cleansing caused the entire space to collapse and squeeze towards her body. Divine Realm Netherworld Cleansing was an instant skill with no traceable trajectory, making it impossible to defend against. It was the most effective and powerful ability for killing lower-ranked ability users. Puff! Haiwan died without much noise, just squeezed into blue tomato sauce. With 2 moves, 2 Black Chariot-level mutants were instantly killed. At this moment, the 6 major regions and the National Protectorate Army were watching the battle through a shared perspective. Seeing this scene, they all stood still, unable to calm down for a long time. Han Shan's eyes widened, his eyeballs rolling in their sockets. Zhang Yi. He's not human anymore. How could this be? I thought I could fight him for a few rounds. How could this be? He can kill the Silver Armor General in seconds, Doesn't that mean he can kill me too? Han Shanzhua suddenly felt that calling Zhang Yi brother was not respectful enough. Next time they meet, he would probably have to change his tone and call him father. In the Xinjiang region, Ho Tu and Shang Daowen were also silent. Ho Tu could also kill a black chariot-level mutant in seconds, but there was no way she could do it as cleanly as Zhang Yi. It took some time to activate the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation to completely kill the opponent. How could anyone kill a black chariot-level mutant as easily as killing 2 mosquitoes like Zhang Yi did? Shang Daowen took a deep breath and said, "It seems that we have stayed in the Huashu Kingdom for too long. I thought we were world-class, but seeing the state of chaos. Hey!" He didn't know how to continue and only felt extremely ashamed. He could accept that he was not as good as Zhang Yi, but he could not accept that he was not as good as Zhang Yi, and yet he was not improving as fast as Zhang Yi. Wasn't it said that the weaker you were, the more room you had for improvement? How could Zhang Yi not play by the rules? Zhang Yi did this on purpose. He wanted the people of the 6 major regions to see with their own eyes how strong he was now. He wanted to give his allies confidence so that they would firmly support him in the war. When it came to instantly killing low-level ability users, Zhang Yi was even more powerful than the average black bishop. After all, compared to fighting strong opponents, he preferred to bide his time and become stronger first, then come back and crush his opponents. Why take risks in a battle that he could win easily? The people of the 6 major regions were silent and shocked, but at the same time, they felt a little more confident about the upcoming war. At this moment, Zhang Yi was outside Mist Valley on Star Island. Ahead of him was a huge area shrouded in poisonous mist. This was a restricted area deliberately set up by the Wulwan Empire to prevent other creatures from approaching. However, Zhang Yi knew that everything he did here would definitely be discovered by the Wulwan Empire. It didn't matter. He wanted them to know his anger. Zhang Yi shot up into the sky above Mist Valley on Star Island and turned on the loudspeaker of his battle armor so that his voice could be heard as far as possible. "You scum of the Wulwan Empire. You bunch of damned creatures, you have repeatedly attacked my Huashu Kingdom. Do you really think we are soft targets? I advise you to behave yourselves. If you dare to do this again, I will definitely not let you off. Today, I will kill your warriors first. Take a good look, this is a warning." Zhang Yi's voice was filled with anger, like a person who had been provoked, threatening the other side with a hoarse voice. What he needed to give them was the reaction of a timid and nervous person when threatened. The entire Star Island had long since become a land outpost of the Wulwan Empire, so everything that happened here was immediately relayed to the Wulwan Empire's military headquarters. Upon receiving this news, the Hades gatekeeper, Jinglu, his eyes suddenly turned cold. He recognized who that person was. That familiar feeling of space abilities was the human genius he had almost captured and turned into a puppet. Even he envied his amazing talent with both time and space abilities. It was precisely because he was concerned about Zhang Yi's growth that he sent Pokong to lead 6 silver armor generals to intercept and kill him. He just didn't expect that things would turn out so differently, and that everything would come to nothing. Jinglu gritted his teeth and spat out hot white smoke. "Damn brat, I should have killed you back then." He couldn't express how much he regretted it now. At that time, he thought that the entire Huashu Kingdom was already in his pocket, so he didn't kill Zhang Yi. Now, the other party had come to his doorstep to wreak havoc. But you came at the right time. You finally fell into my trap, ha ha ha. Although 2 of his subordinates had died in battle, Jinglu was extremely enraged at seeing his enemy, and he wanted to kill Zhang Yi so badly. He quickly donned his black armor, then took a special elevator and shot toward the surface like a rocket. What was Zhang Yi doing at this moment? He opened a shadow, reached his left hand into it, and in the next moment, accompanied by the sound of clanking chains, he pulled 6 figures out of the shadow.